children, pornography has become the backdrop to sex education. Very sad. Images and videos are just a little mere click away. The impact of these images on the young, underdeveloped brain can be seriously damaging, with the risk of addiction very high if a child is exposed to at a very young age and continues to view pornography. It's not a matter of if, but when they become exposed. You know what, if a child has a device and access to the internet, or if they have friends who do, and these are the only two criteria, and most kids sadly have both, they will be exposed. That's the sad truth. We have a duty, as I believe, as adults and parents, to empower our children to become resilient to the onslaught, something that they are developmentally not equipped to deal with, since it impacts the deepest meaning of who they are as male and female, their God-given sexuality. Pornography is like a magnet to the brain. It pulls viewers in to look, and just like adults, children will react to sexually explicit content. Even if the images are disturbing or frightening, it's a natural biological response. But they can be deeply disturbed by what they see, because the reality is that a child's brain processes pornography very differently to an adult's brain. While adults are able to protect themselves from the messages being sent to the brain, this ability in the child is still developing. At some level, they are aware that it is something shameful, but not having the vocabulary of interpreting what they see, and at the same time being aroused by what they see. They'll often internalize those feelings and keep it a secret because it does feel good. The confusion and the anxiety that can develop from this can cause behavior changes, which can include things like sudden withdrawal from the family, sudden outbursts of anger, anxiety, depression, social withdrawal, etc. Now, of course, this isn't the only cause of those conditions. Now, we have to look at what are some of the reasons that children are more susceptible. And there are many. Okay, number one, let's just look at what goes on here. The area of the brain that provides the ability to reject signals from sexually explicit material is called the prefrontal cortex. And this is only fully developed around the age of 25. This means that children are developmentally unable to make safe, healthy decisions all on their own. They need our help. And I think we as parents know this. We can see this in so many other areas of their lives. The next thing is that during the years of puberty, the hormone responsible for pleasure seeking, dopamine, is in overdrive. So exposure during puberty means they feel more and they get a higher hit of this dopamine than an adult would, thus creating a higher risk for addiction. Another interesting fact we know is that healthy child development includes children having increased feelings to act out on what they are seeing. And we've seen this with our sons, who are when they teeter on a wall and acting out a Spider-Man, or your daughter believing that she can sing and dance and create ice like Elsa. This acting out is brain-induced and it's normal. This is what children do. So can you understand then how children who only have pornography as a guide to sexual activity will regard it as normal and use it as their blueprint, trying to convince themselves that extreme sexual acts performed on them and that they are expected to perform on others are normal, and it's the way that it should be. According to Dr. Gail Dines, author of Pornland, our young girls are from a very young age being taught how to be sexual. She uses the term pornified. She says from the way that they are dressed, right up to the way that they are taught to behave. She says that when they're exposed to pop videos that encourage the emulation of sexually explicit dance movements, that should not really be evoking reactions of, oh, cute and sweet, oh, how gorgeous do they look from the adults watching, since this can become the blueprint of how these young girls see themselves and how they are seen and accepted by others, especially the opposite sex. They learn to believe that to pornify themselves is the only way that they will find love. And by the way, porn sex is increasingly being demanded by the guys that they are with. The messages received from pornography do nothing more than shape the ways children develop into adults. And as these messages are absorbed into their sexual identities by the more media they are exposed to, the more they become desensitized to visual depictions of violence and fetish sex. Violent video games with sexual content all feeds into this. Someone posed the question on social media some time back. Have you ever wondered why today we see men dispensing with pursuing and wooing in romantic dinners? Unquote. And I'm just thinking, could it be because pornography offers boys a no strings attached, intense, disconnected sexual experience where they get to have as much sex as they want in as many ways that they desire that show up their masculinity? Just a question. I mean, he is protected from rejection, isn't he? Because in porn, women never say no to men's sexual demands, however outrageous they might be. And he doesn't have to face ridicule on his size or his technique. So finally, just to end with a statistic, according to the Barna Group's porn phenomenon, 57% of teens have looked for porn at least once a month. And here's the wake-up stat. It's been said that 79% of teens who want to quit using pornography have no one to help them. That's what this site is about. Now, I could go on, but the good news is that we have and we can teach our children to become resilient and resistant to what they will see. There are many resources, so please just tap into all the links recommended. And I have put in there the links that I have, the resources that I've mentioned in this talk. And remember to connect with us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And until we meet again, God bless.
Tell you good and enhlizweni